233. You need to open your green book to 233. A 2, a 3, and a 3. Morning, Vivi. 233, please. So, Friday, we started and we did the first part of runs on this. So if you did not watch the video or you were not on my live, then you are behind already for the lesson for Friday. Now, so I said when we get here on Monday, we were going to do the questions. Because we've already done the first half of runs. We've already read the title and underlined it, made a prediction, and we put in our chunks. You have to, if you're not able to get on the live, which I understand if you're not able to get onto the live teachings, then you have to watch the videos or you are not keeping up. I don't need a comment, please. Okay, you have to watch the live. Because we're moving on. Whether you're with us or not. We're having a test tomorrow on the story we read last week, whether you've read it or not. We will have a test tomorrow. We're going to have a test tomorrow in math as well. We're going to review today, but you have got to watch the videos. Because I don't post them for my good. I've already passed 4th grade. As much as I would love to do it again, I don't need to. I do it every year. All right. I'm going to read through this quickly, then we're going to go to the questions. Since we have already done all of our chunkings and stuff, if you're not there yet, I guess you're going to have to do it when you get to the questions. The hamburger turns 100. The origin of the hamburger is somewhat a mystery. Some say Charles McGreen of Seymour, Wisconsin, made the first hamburger in 1850. He was selling meatballs at a fair. Charlie noticed that people were not buying the meatballs. He realized it was because they were too difficult to eat while walking. Charlie flattened the meatball, cooked them over the fire, placed the meat between 2 pieces of bread, and called his creation a hamburger. I don't need a comment. You need to have your green book open. You need to be following along. We're on page 233. If you're not following along, you need to. The town of Seymour, Wisconsin, claims to be the home of the hamburger. A celebration called the Burger Festival is held each year. Festival events include a ketchup slide, a bun toss, a hamburger eating contest, and a hamburger parade. The town even has a hamburger hall of fame. Others say Frank and Charles Menches made the first hamburger at the Erie County Fair in Hamburg, New York in early 1800s. The brothers were famous for making pork sausage sandwiches. The butcher could not deliver pork sausage on the day of the fair, so the beef was used in its place. The brothers ground up the beef, mixed it with spices, and cooked it and served it between 2 slices of bread. The Menches brothers named their sandwich the hamburger after Hamburg, New York, where the fair was held. After selling their sandwiches at county fairs for a few years, the Menches brothers opened their own restaurant in Akron, Ohio. On May 28, 2005, the town of Akron hosted its first National Hamburger Festival. There are others who claim Fletcher Davis of Athens, Texas, deserves the credit for making the hamburger well known. Davis was recognized throughout the East Texas as Old Dave. He tried his luck making pottery as a career. When that was unsuccessful, he opened a restaurant in the Little East Texas town of Athens. He served an unusual sandwich which was unnamed. It was made of ground beef formed into a square patty and served between two slices of homemade bread. The sandwich was such a hit in Athens that Old Dave and his wife sold it at the 1904 World Fair in St. Louis, Missouri. Lines formed and soon everyone wanted Old Dave's sandwiches. Cheese was added to the hamburger between 1924 and 1926. Several people claim to have created the cheeseburger. However, credit is most often given to Lionel Sternberger of Pasadena, California. Lionel's father earned the Right Spot, a local sandwich shop. It is believed that 16-year-old Lionel noticed a hamburger cooking on the hot griddle. He placed a slice of American cheese on the beef patty. After sampling the tasty innovation, Mr. Sternberger was pleased. He promptly added it to the menu as a cheese hamburger. The hamburger, with or without cheese, has since become an American staple. It is true that some beef might exist after the burger's origin. However, this favorite sandwich will continue to be a creation worth celebrating. All right, you need to answer the questions. You already answered them. You're right. Y'all have already answered them. We're going over them. We're going to go over them. You're right. All right, let's go over the questions then. Number 1, it says, if the author had described the similarities and differences between two of the possible origins of the hamburger, what would the structure be? Let's do this. If you think it is, no. Let's do 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. Hold up your fingers, tell me what answer you put. Hold up your finger, tell me what answer you thought it is right now. Now, chronologically, A is not it because it is not telling us steps to do something. So we know it is not A. Is it a problem solution? Do we have a problem that we're trying to fix?
No.
What problem were you trying to fix?
Remember when the meatballs are not selling good? So he just thought.
Yeah, but that's only one piece of it. So if there's not like that, a problem solution would be like if the whole thing was just about how he changed the meatball into a hamburger. Not that there are different types of people. All right? So now we have compare and contrast and description. Now, the only structures of text, not in this one, it is in this one. We have find it in just a second. Oh, I got the paper. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Here's language. Where's my text structure? There are only really 4 different types of text structure. We have a problem solution, a sequencing or chronological, a cause and effect, and a compare and contrast. So, if there's one up there that is not one of those four, then that is not a text structure. Right here. Text structures, compare and contrast, to describe how things are alike and different, using but, both, however, and. We have cause and effect to explain what happened and why it happened. We have sequencing, which is to explain events in an order. And then we have problem solution to show a problem and how it is solved. Okay, even though that was, yes, a problem that they faced and how he solved it, that wasn't the whole story, what it was about. So, is there a description text structure? No. What? Look at here. When we say alike and different, we say how something is similar and how something is different. Different. So, look right here in the question. It says, if the author had described the similarities and differences between two of the possible origins of the hamburger, what would the structure be? When you see that word similarity and differences, always think of compare and contrast. Always. How something is alike, how something is different. Always think of compare and contrast. That similar and different are your key words. All right, number 2. It says the question has 2 parts. First part A, then part B. It says, based on the passage, which 2 words describe Charlie Negreen? Clever, courageous, creative, hungry, popular. So let's go back to Charles Negreen. In the passage, some say Charles Negreen made the first hamburger. He was selling meatballs at the fair. Charlie noticed that people were not buying the meatballs. He realized it because they were too difficult to eat while walking. All right, what 2 words describes Charles Negreen? We got clever, courageous, creative, hungry, popular. Give me one. Clever. Why would he be clever? Kamani? So he decided to smash the meatballs into a patty to make a hamburger. What's another one? Creative. Very good. He's creative. That describes him. He's clever and creative. Jordan, you all right, buddy? He's really tired? Okay. If you need to stand up, you can do that. It says, which sentence supports your answer in part A? It says, A, Charles Negreen made a great deal of money from his hamburger sales. Charles Negreen adapted his product to fit the customer's needs. Charles Negreen was honored in the Hamburger Hall of Fame. Charles Negreen developed the name hamburger. Hold up your answers. 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. All right. Does it say anything about him making a great deal of money? No, it doesn't say anything about how much he made. Okay, so we know automatically A is not it. All right. It says Charles Green was honored in the Hamburger Hall of Fame. Well, does it say that he was honored in the Hamburger Hall of Fame? No, it says that there was a hamburger, the town even has a Hamburger Hall of Fame, but it doesn't say anything about Charles being part of the Hamburger Hall of Fame. And then Charles Green developed the name hamburger. Does that support the idea that he is clever and creative? No. The only thing that, if you think of it, when you're reading the choices, it says Charles Green adapted his product to fit the customer's needs. Adapt means to change. He changed his meatballs into sandwiches so then it would fit the people that were at the fair. So he adapted his product. So the answer is B. Moving on to number 3. It says, why did Frank and Charlie Mentions name their sandwich the hamburger? It was made from pork. It was mixed with spices. It was served at the National Hamburger Festival. It was named after the town where the fair was held. Well, let's go back. Frank and Charles Mentions made the first hamburger at the Erie County Fair in Hamburg, New York. In early 1880s, the brothers were famous for making the pork sausage sandwiches. It said right here, the Menches brothers named their sandwich a hamburger after Hamburg, New York. Right here, that's number 3. That's my text evidence showing that that's where my answer is. So I go back to my question. Is it made from pork? No. It is mixed with spices, but does that have anything to do with the name? No. It's served at the National Hamburger Festival. Well, was it served at the National Hamburger Festival? No, it was served at a fair. So that can't be it either. It was named after the town where the fair was held. The Menches named their sandwich the hamburger after Hamburg, New York, where the fair was held. Right there, word for word in the text. So the answer is D. Get your hands off my bulletin board. Number 4. Why might the origin of the hamburger be considered a mystery? The meat was not what people expected. The hamburger was an accidental invention. The historical accounts contained conflicting information. The inventor was surprised by the popularity of his product. What do you think? 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. All right, let's go through our choices. The meat was not what people expected. Did it really talk anything about people's expectations for the meat? No. The hamburger was an accidental invention. Okay, it could have been accidental, but in all of the accounts, was it accidental? No. The historical account contains conflicting information. And then the inventor was surprised by the popularity of his product. It says, why might the origin of the hamburger be considered a mystery? It doesn't have anything to do with the inventor being surprised about the popularity of their product. It's considered a mystery because there's multiple people that say they created the hamburger. So the answer is C. Number 5. How did Mr. Sternberger respond to his son's creation? He was amused, he was irritated, he was surprised, he was impressed. 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. Answers up. Was he irritated? No. Was he amused? He could have been amused, yes. Was he surprised? He could have been surprised. But overall, it says Mr. Sternberg was pleased and promptly added it to his menu as a cheese hamburger. So he was more impressed than he was surprised and amused. And then part B, it says which sentence from the passage supports your answer in part A. However, credit is most often given to Lionel Sternberg of Pasadena, California. It is believed that 16-year-old Lionel noticed a burger cooking on the hot griddle. He placed a slice of cheese on the American cheese on the beef patty. He promptly added it to his menu as a cheese hamburger. 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. Answers, please. I just read the sentence that I just read. You guys are listening. It says, after sampling the tasty innovation, Mr. Sternberg was pleased. He promptly added it to his menu as a cheese hamburger. D. All right, number 6. Yep. Says, what is the meaning of the word staple as used in paragraph 6? So let's go back to paragraph 6, right here on the bottom. It says the hamburger with or without cheese has since become an American staple. It's not talking about like a staple you put in a piece of paper. All right, is it a basic type of food, a well-known treat, a patriotic celebration, a bent wire used to secure papers? Which one do we automatically know it is not? D, a bent wire used to secure papers. Doesn't have anything to do with stapling papers together. A basic type of food, a well-known treat, a patriotic celebration. Oh, a basic type of food, a well-known treat, and a patriotic celebration. 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C. And you can't pick D because we've already canceled that out. Is a hamburger a treat? No. Ice cream and cake and popsicles are treats, so it is not a treat. Is it a patriotic celebration? Does it have anything to do with America? I mean, yes, it's an American staple, but does it have anything to do if somebody says, well, that some people would say that a hot dog is a patriotic celebration. Does it have anything to do with patriotism? If you eat a hamburger, you're more patriotic than another person? No. So the answer is A, a basic type of food. Number 7. Based on Jared's passage, which is what we read, it's his passage about... Did it spill? Did it spill? No? Okay. Why is Charles Negreen and Fletcher Davis remembered differently? Okay? It says one was a keen observer while the other was a talented potter. One created the first hamburger while the other one caused the hamburger to be popular. One was honored each year by his hometown while the other was honored throughout his home state. One man's hamburgers were sold only at fairs while the other man's hamburgers were sold only at his restaurant. It says, why were they remembered differently? Differently, that's a key word. So we're looking at Charles Negreen and Fletcher Davis. So let's go back to Charles Negreen. Okay, so he sold his at a fair. he sold his at a fair. All right, now we're going to go to, who's the other one? Fletcher Davis. Old Dave. He opened up a restaurant, and then he sold it at a fair. So, it says, how are they named? One was a keen observer, while the other one was a talented potter. Yes, one was a potter, but was Charles McGreen a keen observer? No. I don't recall. I don't recall it saying anything about him being a keen observer, meaning a super duper good observer, like he can see super duper good and super duper good. One created the first hamburger while the other caused the hamburger to be popular. Maybe. Because we have Charles McGreen, who took his meatball and made it into a hamburger. And then we have the other one that he opened up a restaurant, an unusual sandwich that became popular. Okay? One was honored each year by a hometown while the other was honored throughout his home state. Does it say anything about them being honored by their state or their hometown? No, not really, because it doesn't say Charles McGreen's hamburger, home of the hamburger, created by Charles McGreen. One man's hamburger were sold at a fair, while the other man's hamburgers were sold only at his restaurant. Now, he did have a restaurant, but he also sold them at a fair, at the World Fair. So, the answer is B. All right, and then number 8 says, what is the best summary of the Hamburger Turns 100? 3 people claim to have been the first to invent the hamburger, even though none of these claims can be proven. As with the hamburger, the invention of the cheeseburger has been claimed by more than one person. Regardless of its invention, the hamburger is a popular American food choice. B. The best way to celebrate the invention of the hamburger is to have a contest for students to write about its history. The winner of one contest was Jared Dill, who told about several claims for the invention of both the hamburgers and the cheeseburgers. C. Several communities have claimed to be the home of the hamburger because the inventors lived in their town. The most famous inventor was Lionel Sternberg, who had the idea to add cheese to a hamburger sold at his restaurant. D. The hamburger became a popular food in America because it was invented by ordinary people who sold it at festivals, fairs, and restaurants. Most famous fair where it was enjoyed by many people was 1904 World's Fair. It says, what is the best summary of the Hamburger Turns 100? 1 for A, 2 for B, 3 for C, 4 for D. Jayana, sit up, baby. You got a question? You've already gone 3 times this morning. No. We're going at 9:25. 9:20. All right. The answer is A. It's describing the whole thing. If I told you to retell me that story, you would have to say about each one of the 3 inventors. And it was just a kind of a synopsis of what we read. Synopsis being like a overall. Jayana, sit up, baby. All right, number 9. What is the structure? What structure did Jared use to organize his report? Cause and effect, chronology, classification, problem, solution. So when we see structure, we're thinking about text structure. So there are only 4. What are the 4? Come on, I told them to you earlier. cause and effect,
Problem and solution.
problem solution, compare and contrast, sequence or chronological, meaning putting something in order. So which one is not one of those? Which one of our choices is not a type of text structure? C, classification. Chronology is the same thing as sequencing, chronological. So, what type of structure did Jared use to organize his report? Wait a minute. I'm such a dummy sometimes. So, actually, why is it that? Let me check. Number 9, it says as its classification. I don't know why. Well, I don't know. I don't understand why it'd be classification myself. Hold on, let me look it up. Classification. Well, okay, so here we go. It wouldn't be cause and effect because there's not, you do one thing and something else happens because of that one thing. It's not chronological because it's not in order. Problem solution, we don't really have a main problem. The problem really is, it's not really like one main problem. So it would have to be classification, which, let me look over here, see if there's a text structure for classification. See, even this one doesn't have. Okay, so they have description. The author explained the topic, idea, person, place, or thing by listing characteristics, features, and examples. For example, characters such as look like, consist of, for instance, a blank is a type of blank. It's made of blank and looks like blank. Some blanks have blanks, such as blank. Blanks have several characteristics. One characteristic is blank. Another is, so would that be kind of the wording of what we had with our passage? It was describing about things. So a classification and a description would actually be the same thing. So the answer is actually C. Sorry for not reading correctly. That means we need to put another text structure on our chart. Classification also means description. Please forgive me for I did not do it correctly. Okay, now we are going to go to our book. We've already done elements of drama. All right. Let me get my other book out. Okay. Give me 1 second. You're going to need a piece of paper. We're going to do an anchor chart. What you need, Cobb? What? When she gets back. All right, you're going to need a piece of paper out. So if you don't have a piece of paper out, please get it out at this time. I do not have to repeat myself. If I write it, you write it. All right, so we're going to look at idioms, adages, and proverbs. Idioms, adages, and proverbs. And I will explain to you what each one of those are in just a second. Idiom, adages, and proverbs. So, idiom. Adages. And proverbs. Go ahead, Charles. Idiom, adages, and proverbs. Everybody should have a piece of paper out, writing this down. If I have to tell one more person to sit up, then I'm going to start using your recess time. I'll put it on my desk. I can put it on top of my microwave. On top of my microwave, please. Okay. Idioms, adages, and proverbs are types of common sayings. They have meanings beyond what their individual words mean. So, idioms, adages, and proverbs are types of common expression, common saying, that have a meaning beyond what can be what their individual words mean. You're not writing this down, you're going to write it at recess. Alex, put your mask on, please, sir. All right, the first one, the idiom. An idiom is an expression meaning something different from its individual words. Like saying it's a piece of cake. If I said this homework is a piece of cake, that's an idiom right there. Because is it really a piece of cake? No, it means what?
Easy.
It's easy. And so the meaning behind it is that it is easy, but that's nowhere in that does it, on a piece of cake, does it say it's easy. So an example,
Homework literally is a piece of cake. Then do we call it a piece of homework?
a piece of cake. Or another one would be, who put a bee in her bonnet? Who put a bee in her bonnet? Or don't get your panties all in a wad. It doesn't make any sense, but what is it saying? Don't get your panties all in a wad. What's that mean? It means you need to what? You need to chill out. Don't get your panties all in a wad. That means don't get upset over nothing. Or don't cry over spilt milk. Is it really spilt milk? No. We're saying don't be a big baby. Or life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Hey, that's Forrest Gump.
It is, and it's an idiom. Because is life really a box of chocolates? No, but what do we know about boxes of chocolate?
They're yummy.
They're yummy and they're different. You never know what you're going to get when you put your hand in there and you bite on it. You never know what you're going to get. So life is like that because you never know what you're going to have to face. Or somebody says to you, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. Or someone woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. What does that mean? Somebody's in a bad mood. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Or they possibly just slept. Or they possibly slept wrong.
Yeah. So that's an idiom. Or don't count your chickens before they hatch.
What does that mean?
That means that don't already have an outcome of something before you've already done the work to get it. So don't expect to have A's on your report card if you did not do the work leading up to it. Or don't write a check that your bank can't cash.
What does that mean?
That means that it kind of means the same thing as don't count your chickens before they hatch. Because not all the chickens are going to hatch.
That's what one of my grandmas said.
Yeah.
She lives on in a house but with the chickens.
Or who put a bee in a bonnet? A bonnet's a hat. Somebody, or don't get a big head.
Oh,
I remember in second grade we had chickens.
Yep, I remember.
oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Or another saying, to the moon and back.
I heard about that
I
one.
love you to the moon and back. You're not really saying to the moon and back, you're just meaning that you love somebody a lot. Those are all idioms. They mean different than what their actual saying is.
Idioms are for idiots.
Please don't. That's not a very nice saying. I like to hear my mom always says I'm gonna come at you like a wild boar.
What does that mean?
That means she's gonna get you if you don't get your mess together.
Oh yeah.
She's gonna attack you. She can come because a wild boar they're vicious.
Never happened to me.
I'm
Oh.
the fastest person.
What about let's see if I could think of another one, a common one that kids these days would have heard. Let me think. All right, next one. An adage. An adage is a short statement that expresses a general truth or a piece of advice. A short saying that expresses something true or gives advice. It's a short statement that expresses a general truth or a piece of advice. So an example, actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. It's a short statement that expresses a general truth or a piece of advice. Actions speak louder than words. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. That's advice. Saying that even though you may want to try something different, the grass isn't always greener unless you water it.
Or painted.
Or what?
Or painted.
It'll eventually die. Actions speak louder than words. Meaning that your actions or what you do reflects you. It speaks louder than the words that you say sometimes. Alex, what I say, if you don't have this down, you're going to do it when? Thank you, Alex. I have 4 Alexes apparently. And then the last one is a proverb. If you are a church-going person, there's proverbs. So proverbs are a short, popular saying, usually as an ancient origin expressing truth based on common sense or experience, or it's an old saying based on common sense or experience. We're going to write that one. An old saying based on common truth common truth. Oh, not common truth. Common sense or experience. Common truth / sense or experience. An example. All that glitter is not gold. Let me see if I think of another. Ah, that glitter is not gold. Yes, sir.
Do we have to put the
Examples? Yes. Yes, please. Just so you can tell the difference between the three.
Do you go to church?
Huh?
Do you go to church?
I do.
I did too.
I go to the bridge.
I used to go to church with my brother. Well, not every day, but on Sundays.
Yeah. Well, with COVID and stuff, a lot of people, they watch online or
I had
Hold
to
on.
go there because I had to do like stuff that day.
yeah. Copy. And once you have finished writing that, and if you have not, you're going to write it at recess, like I said. You may open up your reading book to page 206, please. Go ahead, Nathan. Keep going. You're good. You just finished writing. I'm not gonna start reading yet. No, hey, Jayana, finish writing, baby. I'm giving you time. I'm just telling everybody else that they can.
Do we need this paper for this story?
You might want it, yeah.
What page again?
206.
Okay,
You're welcome. When Nathan gets back.
Page what?
206.
Are we gonna do this today?
No. 206. Alright, we're going to reread the page and identify and analyze the adage in the dialogue. Remember we talked about dialogue last week was the what the actors or characters say. So, if you're still writing, keep writing. I'm going to read anyway. The narrator, Atalanta, determined to win, got up early every morning at dawn to run. Atalanta, checking time on her watch. Whew! All this practice is really improving my time. But one more jog around town, she runs off. Narrator, as the day of the race grew near, young men began to arrive. 5 young men enter. First young man, I'm so ready for this race. Second young man, not as ready as I am. Third young man, I even went out and bought a new pair of running shoes, showing off his shoes. Young man number 4, just imagine after the race I'll be marrying Princess Atalanta. Fifth young man, hey, don't count your chickens before they hatch. So what adage can you identify? The fifth young man saying what?
Hey,
Don't count your chickens before they hatch. What does this saying mean? He's looking ahead. He's assuming that he already won the race and he's marrying Atalanta even though it hasn't happened yet. Yes, Jayana. After Christopher goes. What do you need, Alec? Can you wait till 9:25, please? 9:20, please? It's in 20 minutes. I know that clock's wrong, but mine's right on the back. All right. What does the saying mean in relation to the text? Wait a minute. Yeah. What does the saying mean in relation to the text? What is the fifth young man telling the fourth young man? Don't assume that you're already won. Don't be overly confident about winning the race and marrying the princess until they actually compete in the race. So don't already think that you won, even though we haven't raced yet. It's good to be confident in your abilities, but don't already count your chickens before they hatched. All right, turn over to page 208, please. 208 in your reading book, please. Said narrator, each evening to get in shape for the race, young John, everybody should have their reading book open, went out for a run. He runs around the stage. Soon he could run as fast as the wind. Young John jogging in place. I think I'm ready. Practice really does make perfect. Jogs off. At last, the day of the race arrived. Trumpets sounded. Messenger entered and blows a fanfare on kazoo. Okay, kazoo sounds and the runners and spectators gathered. Young men, young John, spectators, messengers, and Atalanta enter. All runners stretch out. King Henry enters. King, welcome, welcome everyone on this great day. To the runners, I wish you good luck, and to you, my dear Atalanta, I must say farewell. By tomorrow you will be married. Atalanta, don't be so sure about that, Dad. Steps to audience. They're going to eat my dust. King, runners to the starting line. They line up at the one side of the stage. On your mark, get set, go. All runners all start running in slow motion. Spectators do silent, slow motion cheering. It said, what proverb or idiom appears in the dialogue of young John? What proverb or idiom appears in the dialogue of young John? Nathan? Practice really does make perfect. What does young John mean? The more you practice something, the better you're going to get. You'll be able to do it. What proverb or idiom does Atalanta say? They're going to eat my dust. What does Atalanta mean? They're going to lose. She's going to outrun them all. They're going to all be eating her dust as she's running by them. How would the meaning of each expression be different if you thought about the meaning of each individual word? Well, let me say that again. How would the meaning of each expression be different if you thought about the meaning of each individual word? It says practice makes perfect almost means what the words say. But eat my dust is an idiom that has a meaning of its own. The runner will not really eat the dust of Atalanta's shoes leave behind. Interesting. All right. All right, we're going to stop right there. Tomorrow we will have a test on this reading story. We'll listen to it in the morning. Let's look at our vocabulary words real quick while we're here. Let me go grab them real quick. And then when we get back from Thanksgiving, we'll be starting a new story. So we're right on time with our
Once we get back
stuff.
from Frank's ribbing,
Sure.
Frank's red.
Okay, so the first word we're looking at for our review. Let me clear there we go, a little. Because there will be a vocabulary test tomorrow as well. First word, disbelief. Not believing in something. Not believing that something is true. Disbelief. Without looking in your book. Debris. Debris. Alex.
Like the debris was in the wind.
Charles, put your book up. Okay, it says the people of the town had to work hard to clean up the debris that was left behind by the damaging hurricane. It's pieces of something that was broken or destroyed. Put your mask on. Yes. Adoringly. Adoringly. In comfort, love. Adoringly is you act with a lot of love or admiration. Capable. Something you're able to do. He or she has the skill or ability to do something. Perished. Jody. Huh? Say it again. Dissolve. Okay, perished. Dissolved means something that died or dissolved. When people are when people or animals perish, they die. Next word. Surge. Surge. Charles. Charles. Alex. That's your last warning. A surge of water, there's a sudden large increase in its depth. A sudden surge of water, it says if there's a surge of water, there's a sudden large increase in its depth. And then last one, spectators. People that are watching an event such as a sports competition. Are people that are watching an event such as a sports competition. We will have a test on vocabulary and on the story, the Galveston story, and no, tomorrow, and Catch Me If You Can. Well, listen to both of them tomorrow before we do the story. If you want to take it home and read the Galveston hurricane story, it goes with this. What? Yes, sir. I will show you. That one. The Galveston hurricane of 1900. That is one story we're testing on tomorrow. That one's just a short. And then the Catch Me If You Can. Okay? Those will both be on the test tomorrow, as well as the vocabulary. All right, we're going to take a 10-minute break. You may have a mass break. We're going to go to the restroom. We'll come back, have a mass break, stretch break, and then we'll get into math.